Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven. I'm a pharmacist and I own 54 units of real estate. So today I want to talk about investing out of state. So for most of my investing career in the beginning, I started investing in California in the Bay Area, which is my backyard. That's all I knew. That's all I heard from videos, from family, is invest in your backyard, invest where you know. So for me, all I knew was the Bay Area. And the Bay Area is at a very expensive market. My first home that I bought was $800,000 in Livermore, California, which is East Bay. And that was back in 2017. So my purchase price was about $800,000. Why $800,000? Because 10% of $800,000 was $80,000. That's how much I was trying to save. So for me, it made it very clear what my market should be. So I would look in San Jose, everything was $1 million, too expensive. Go down further to Pleasanton, $1 million, too expensive. Dublin, $1 million, too expensive. Livermore was next, $800,000. It was within my price point. So for me, that's how I kind of invested, right? I own a house in the East Bay. I own a house in San Francisco. I own a house in the South Bay. So, and I just kind of bought in areas where I had jobs, and that's how I started off house hacking. So, but eventually I hit the point where in California, like, you get amazing appreciation. And I've been fortunate to have the same tenants the entire time. I've only had one tenant in all my single family homes, except in my duplex. But I've had the same tenant in my first home in East Bay, the same tenant in my San Francisco home on the upper unit. The lower unit, I've had more turnover. And I had the same tenant in my house in Southern California. And, you know, so far, for the most part, they've been great. They've been paying on time. They've been great to work with. Just recently, this past year, I guess when the recession hit, my one tenant in Orange County, they fell behind on payments. Must have gotten hit with a medical issue or maybe a job layoff or maybe both. And they kind of been in the hole since, but been trying to work with them to, get me paid. And they still, owe me about a month and a half worth of rent. And I just said, hey, just communicate with me. I'm willing to work with you guys to, spread this out over time. But the key is you just have to communicate with me. And their communication has been on and off. So sometimes I feel like I have to kind of probe them a little bit, where I'll text them and they don't respond to my text. And then, I give them a week. And then after that, I'll usually call and leave a voicemail. They usually don't pick up. And typically by then, that's when they would send me the rest of the rent. So it's a lot more active than I would like, but hey, when times are tough, you got to be flexible, you got to be scrappy and make it work. So anyways, I started investing in California because that was my backyard, but I realized that California is just appreciation, not much cash flow. I could buy a house for $800,000 and only rents for $4,000. That's the 0.5% rule. It's going to be hard to cash flow despite low interest rates. So because of that, I said I need to go out of state. And that's when I dived into my apartments in Oklahoma and my new construction in Huntsville, Alabama, because I could buy a C-class apartment. I can do a separate video talking about how my C-class apartments are doing during the recession. It's been hit, as a spoiler alert. And from there, I just said, I want more cash flow. California, I've done great in appreciation. I've made each of my single-family homes I've bought appreciate by almost $500,000 each without doing much work because of natural market appreciation that happened during COVID. But they don't really cash flow, despite me self-managing. And if I have to do a repair, it's cash flow negative. So it's a big piggy bank with a lot of equity, but not much cash flow. And obviously that's not sustainable if I don't have my W-2 job. And my goal, remember, is to leave my W-2 job early than most and have cash flow. So that's when I started investing out of state in the Midwest, like Oklahoma, where I could buy a 26 unit for $500,000, but spend $300,000 to fix it up. I have to, it takes time. It took me 2.5 years to fix everything up. stabilize the tenants, the new tenants, and now I gross at the peak about 18,000 bucks a month. My mortgage is $2,000, but right now, since I got hit with more vacancies and more repairs, my income dropped down to about $14,000. Yes, is my property manager potentially stealing from me? Potentially. It is a potential. They've been good to me for the past 4 years, but who knows? They could be stealing from me. They could be renting the rooms and collecting rent as cash. They could be upcharging the repairs or faking repairs. Who knows? Cost of doing business. I hate to say it, but it's the cost of doing business. So from there, it's really, I just kind of bake it in, right? You're going to get cheated. You're going to get stolen from. Happened to me in my mobile home park where they're probably stealing money from me, faking repairs, and collecting cash on the table for tenants who weren't paying. That's why they're always a bad occupancy or collection rate, because maybe the property manager just pocketing the money. That's perfectly on the table, and it's potential, right? But that you need a property manager if you want to scale. So anyways, I went to Oklahoma because it's more cash flow. At its peak, it was making me $6,000 to $8,000 a month net cash flow, and then right now it's probably break even because I have more repairs and less income, and but if it's less, not that many repairs, maybe I'll only make like $2,000-3,000 in cash flow. And from there, I also went out of state to Huntsville, Alabama, because I could buy new construction for $250K and rent for close to $2,000, which is close to the 1% rule. And it's kind of a hybrid market where you get some appreciation and you get some cash flow. So if I were to break it down, California is all appreciation, no cash flow. Oklahoma is all cash flow, no appreciation. And then Huntsville, Alabama is hybrid. It's a little bit of cash flow, a little bit of appreciation. So I started off all in California, all appreciation, moved to apartments in Oklahoma, which is all cash flow. Now I'm trying to do a hybrid where I'm getting a little cash flow, a little appreciation, and I'm upgrading the age of my apartment or my homes. Like these are new construction. I'll do a separate video, but owning C-class apartments during recession, it's tough. You're dealing with more evictions, more repairs, HVACs break, water heaters break, plumbing issues, a lot more repairs. The insurance is gonna be more difficult if you don't make repairs. So it's a different ball game, right? And people get started in C-class, but I can see why they eventually trade up to B-class and an A-class apartment complex, because you're upgrading your client base and hopefully dealing with less headache. But dealing with a C-class tenant versus A-class tenant is a different headache, because A-class tenants know they're paying top market pricing. They are going to be more demanding for sure. So, but likely they're going to have better jobs, most likely. So, kind of pick your poison, for lack of a better word. So right now I'm trying to get more units that are new construction, dealing with better tenants, and hopefully scale my portfolio that way. So, and it's okay. I say this a lot in my videos. It's okay to change your investing strategy. Like I started off house hacking in California, pivoted to apartments, C-class apartments in Oklahoma, and now I'm going back into new construction in Huntsville, Alabama. But maybe after doing new construction in Huntsville, Alabama, maybe I'll go back to buying California. Or maybe I will end up selling my C-class apartments in Oklahoma City and 1031 exchange it, upgrading it into B-class apartments in Oklahoma City. Or A-class apartments in Oklahoma City. Or selling it, if I don't want to deal with apartments anymore, into more single-family homes in Huntsville, Alabama. So it's okay to pivot your strategy. There's no right or wrong answer. It is what makes sense for you in your current situation. And once you get more experience, and once you get more skill, and once you get more wisdom. So that's the beautiful thing about real estate. You're always learning, you're always improving, and you're always pivoting based on your needs, based on your situation. So right now, in my situation, I don't want to deal with renovation for an apartment complex right now. I'm trying to enjoy life. I'm, expect kids in the next 1 to 2 years. And I don't want to deal with all that headache. I want to live my life. I want to have fun. So because of that, I know I cannot deal with a massive renovation of an apartment complex where I'm talking to my contractor, my property manager 3 to 4 times a week, always thinking about it. I just want to buy new construction, do my lazy burr, where I'm buying it cash at a discount and then getting 80% loan to value delayed financing. And because I'm getting a 20% discount buying cash, I'm basically pulling out all my money, or most of my money, and using that money to go buy another house, all cash. So this is called the lazy burr. And this is how I'm going to scale right now in this season. So I bought 2 currently. One I rented out already, and one I'm in the process of doing 80% loan to value, cash out refinance. And I'm going to use that money to go pay cash for my next property. And hopefully if I can rinse and repeat this process, I'll buy a lot of properties this way. At least one every 2 to 3 months. So I can get 4 to 6 properties a year from that. So, and then maybe I'll hit a point where, hey, I don't mind doing another apartment complex. I don't mind dealing with the renovation. Then I go buy another one. So we'll see. Like you said, it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to pivot your strategy based on your situation and what you want to do. That's why I like to be diversified. So anyways, why did I go out of state? Once again, is I wanted cash flow. I wanted diversification. And I wanted to, it's really a cash flow if I were to break it down. And how did I choose Huntsville? I had a great realtor there who was also a property manager. And they brought me these deals. And I liked the area because it's a lot of good jobs there, white collar jobs. Space Command's going there. They have a lot of rocket scientists there. It's very high income. The medium income, I think, is 6 figures. The property tax is low. It's 0.34%. The insurance isn't too bad. There are tornadoes in Alabama, but there's no hurricanes, at least to my knowledge. There's new construction. There's rental demand. And it's a great school district. And I think people can have a good life there if you make 6 figures. And there's great schools. You don't go to private school. So yeah, that's what attracted me to Huntsville, and it's cash flow. Like right now, because I'm locking in 6.5 or 6.8% interest rates, the cash flow's not be as great. But once interest rates drop to maybe 5% or less, I'm gonna do a refinance, rate and term, and it's probably gonna cash flow better. But I'm banking on the fact that over the next 10 years, I'm buying homes for under 300. In 10 years, it's gonna be double to 600 as more jobs go there, as more population growth. I think it's the next Vegas, where I remember looking at homes in Vegas for $250 back in 2015, and during COVID they doubled in value to $500,000. Why did I invest in Oklahoma? Because I had a great property manager there as well, who can do apartments, who can help me renovate these apartment units. But if I want to find a deal, I have to do my direct mail campaign, which is active. And I'm reassessing if I want to continue with C-class apartment complexes. I've owned them for 4 years now, and I want to see if I want to continue holding these long term, or do I want to 1031 exchange, or do I want to sell one and use that one to pay off the other one. So that's really what I'm doing right now. I'm just kind of pausing and reassessing what I want to do and my strategy. So that's really what I've been doing. So I kept it really simple, right? Like out of state because I wanted more cash flow. I wanted diversification. California is very expensive to buy in, and you need cash flow if you want to retire. And it's easier for me to pay off these rentals in Huntsville, Alabama at $250K versus paying off a home in California where it's $1 million. So that's why I did it. And I only chose those markets because I liked the cash flow market of Oklahoma. It's steady Eddie, doesn't go up, doesn't go down, very landlord friendly, and it's more cash flow. I like Huntsville, Alabama because there's population growth, there's rental demand, you have good tenant base, you have good jobs, good school districts. I think it's gonna boom over the next 10 to 15 years, and I have new construction homes, so I'm not gonna deal with much major capex repairs or roof replacements or water heaters for at least 10 to 15 years. And I have warranties on these properties too. So that's really why. It's really simple. I had an unfair advantage in these areas. That's why I'm investing there. So if you look at all 3 of my markets, I have an unfair advantage. That's why I'm investing there. So anyways, hopefully you found value as to why I'm investing out of state, why I decided to pivot out of California and invest out of state. It was necessity for me to have cash flow, and why I chose my markets, and why I continue to buy out of state right now. So anyways, if you want to join my school community, if you want to get coaching, if you want to join my newsletter, if you want a landlord insurance quote from Steadily, it takes 2 minutes and it's free. If you want to send me an email, click on my link tree down below. Otherwise, please like, comment, subscribe. Hope to see you in the next one. Thank you so much.